Hi, I'm John and welcome to another product spotlight. Today we're going to be looking at the Rivet Counter HO Scale EMD GP40 from Scale Trains. The DCC Ready version is listed for $199.99, and the DCC and Sound Equipped version, which comes with ESU Low Sound version 5, is listed for $299.99 on Scale Trains website. Just like other Scale Trains models, this one comes packed in a padded hard cardboard box with the product manual, which is this thin style product manual. It has all the information you could possibly want, everything from DCC information to how to operate the locomotive, how to take it apart, how to lubricate it. It's all there. Scale Trains has minimum radius information on their website. It says the minimum radius for these locomotives is 18 inches, but the recommended radius is 22 or higher. So definitely run on wider radius curves. It'll look a lot better. Now, Scale Trains also offers this model in a bunch of different paint schemes and road numbers. So your best bet is to go to the Scale Trains website and find out if they have what you're looking for. I've scrutinized the paint and markings on this model and found it to be really well done. I like how the logo has a little bit of extra writing here. It says fire extinguisher. Also, looking at the side of the model, you can see it has some kind of a re-railing frog included here. And you'll also notice, looking at the side of this model, that it has an ACI label, which helps you figure out what era it should be used in. And if I tip the model up slightly, you'll notice it has a lot of detail under the sill. There's a bunch of piping and cabling and all kinds of interesting little stuff that you can see in there. Also, with it tilted up, you can see that it has rusted wheel faces and a lot of detail in the trucks. Looking at the detail around the front of the locomotive and the cab, you can see that it comes with wind deflectors installed as well as a sunshade. The windshield wipers are very thin, looks like metal pieces actually. Then you can see that there's a sand filler hatch that looks to be separately applied, and then the grabs on the nose or hood and down the hood over here are all separately applied thin wire grabs. And then also you can see from this angle, there's a speed recorder on the truck and separately applied detail down here around the front pilot, including a plow, grabs, uncoupling lever, hose detail, really everything. You can see from this angle that there's a recessed brake ratchet here. That's one of the spotting features for GP40s. There's also classification lights on the nose, which these work. We'll look at that later. And there's even more hose detail down here around the snowplow. Now we're going to look at a broadside view of the fireman's side. The first thing I would point out is that the windows on the cab are actually movable. And what you can do if you want them to stay in one position is just put a tiny dab of canopy glue there and they'll stay. Something else you can see on this side is the blower duct, which is a spotting feature for these kind of locomotives. There's an ACI label, which was also present on the other side, and also that re-railing frog here. And I'm going to tip the model back a little bit to show you that there's also a whole bunch of extra detail on the undersill on this side as well. That looks really good. The detail on the rear of the model is consistent with what we saw on the front of the model, including separately applied very thin wire grabs that constitute this ladder here. Very thin, separately applied everything, hose detail. It's all there. And something I didn't mention yet, but I will now, is that these are photo etched step wells. You can actually see through the step well. And how cool is that? All right, so this is the last 3/4 angle view we're going to have on this spotlight. And I just want to point out while we're looking at it that the deck also has diamond plate tread, which is pretty cool. And then there's more separately applied air hose detail. You'll notice back here that there's a curved, separately applied, very thin wire grab. And the fan detail is pretty astounding. It has separately applied photo etched grill detail. And then beneath all that, it has the metal fan detail. And it just looks really good. The dynamic brake also has that same treatment. And if you look at the front by the cab, you'll notice that there's an antenna and a separately applied horn casting as well. All right, now we're going to run the engine. We're going to test the slow speed capability here. Oh, boy, that really crawls. Okay, now we're going to run the model without sound and see how it sounds. It's very smooth and quiet. All right, now we're going to have a look at the lights. F0 turns the headlight on and off. F5 turns the classification lights on and off, and they actually cycle. So you have the white one we were just looking at, this green, and this red, and you cycle these simply by pushing the F5 button. And I like green, so I'm just going to leave it as green for now. F6 turns on the oscillating light in the nose, and then a whole bunch of stuff happens when you turn on the sound. So you'll notice that some ground lights came on here and here. And also this little, I call this a service light, that also came on with the sound. With the sound turned on, you can use F14 to turn the number boards on and off. The headlight's directional, so when I put it in reverse, we get our headlights. Then when I push F5, it cycles through the classification lights, just like I was showing you before. And when you turn the sound on, a whole bunch of other stuff comes on. So our number boards come on in the back. You can turn those off with F14. And then back here we have the service light on the walkway, and there's another one down here by the steps, which is a little bit out of focus, but there it is. Well, it seems like I always say that Scale Trains has hit the ball out of the park yet again, and this is no exception. This GP40 model has all the details you could possibly want, and it's a really smooth runner. So great job, Scale Trains. I'll see you all next time.